Welcome back to talkSPORT Cricket as the band is out there in full regalia on the ground. It looks very hot, if we're being honest. I'm not sure that I'd be happy dressed like that, but talk about two men who like to talk about how players dress and their rigs and everything else. I've got the grade cricketer here who are... You guys are at the Apollo soon. You've got a big show. Talk us through that. Here you go.
Thanks for having us, by the way, Jarrod. And let's talk about Australia generally speaking. Let's get into the real stuff. Now, the West Indies. What's that pitch going to do in Sabina Park?
Yeah. 25 minutes on that.
Yeah, that's right. As I look at a marching band here at Lord's, parading in front of the suites. This is real cricket out here.
They are performing for Ravi Shastri's boss. I got to say that's the Ravi Shastri Street right there. I think he purchased that.
Yeah, you know what? We're all performing for India one way or another. So now our live show tomorrow. Yeah, we're really looking forward to it. It's Hammersmith Apollo. Sort of a full circle moment for Pez and I. We've seen some unbelievable acts there over the years. Obviously, Pez and I have spent a bit of time in the UK living here at different stages. So, and now people get to see the grade cricketer there. So,
is that a step up or a step down?
Oh, way down.
Well down. In the basement, I would say, and beneath.
Yeah. But Stuart Broad's on stage with us. He'll be joining us. So, it'll be nice to catch up to see what he's been doing post-retirement. No, we're really looking forward to it. There's still a couple of tickets available. If people want to come along, it's gradecricketer.com if you want to buy tickets. And if you don't, then don't bother coming. Yeah. But it's going to be fun. That's why we're here in the UK rather than the Caribbean. We're doing these live shows. We did one in Birmingham last week with Jimmy Anderson, and we got this one tomorrow night, Sunday night, which we've timed perfectly for the Wimbledon final, which I've only just realised literally this morning that was on as well. So yeah, if you're bored, TGC, come along.
I think that the history of you two guys is fascinating because it springs up as a Twitter account, right? Is Twitter still the thing? X, whatever we call it now.
It feels weird saying X,
yeah.
doesn't it? Still, I'm not there yet. Yeah.
We're all Twitter people.
We're Twitter people.
Right.
Yeah. It springs up as that you're playing club cricket or grade cricket. Sorry, didn't want to slag you off there, guys. In Sydney at the time. How does it sort of form? Like, what's the idea? How do you end up with a Twitter account?
I guess, Higos and I have about 25 to 30 years of combined grizzled grade cricket experience, and we would have joined that competition in Sydney at the age of 17 or 18, and so we were impressionable young men. They're like all men need role models. Our fathers can be distant at times. Everyone's had those situations. Men have generally fled society, but in a grade cricket context, there is just this combination, this phalanx of dysfunctional male togetherness that that you are impressionable to. You play with them on the field and you learn a lot off the field.
There's nothing like the fatherhood of a 4th 11 captain.
That's exactly right. And so while we were playing and chasing dreams of going further that really should have, should have had a stop put to it at age 15, we learn a lot about masculinity, about how to conduct yourself, and as we get older we realise that they were all really bad lessons. But at the time we were in a sort of education, a university for this particular thing. I think once I stopped playing, we just started exploring it. We started writing about it on Twitter anonymously. It resonated with people because men being men, we don't talk about things. So there was some voice put to it, and it resonated. It took off a little bit. So we just kept exploring this character or these characters through different forms.
It's also worth saying that Australian grade cricket and club cricket works very differently to English one, where you turn up once on a Saturday, you play, and everyone sort of disappears. It's Tuesday training sessions, it's Thursday training sessions. Was grade cricket Saturday and Sunday?
Often Saturday and Sunday. Yeah.
So you're looking at 4 days of the week hanging around with these new role models.
Well, and when we played, this was like the apex of Australian cricketing exceptionalism. Early 2000s, mid 2000s, when the Australian cricketing pyramid was very, very reinforced. It went from very sturdily grade cricket, or they call it Premier Cricket now. We lobbied against that unsuccessfully. Grade cricket into state cricket into Test cricket. So everybody there is in the pyramid. They're fighting to go up levels, and that creates all sorts of conduct that we still mind today.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen Gus Atkinson playing his club cricket today, I suppose. Who's he play for again? Spencer?
He
Spencer,
plays
is
for
it?
Spencer because Cameron Ponsonby plays for Spencer, and he's mentioned it to me 4 times.
So basically,
Okay,
that
yeah,
means
yeah.
Cam Ponsonby plays for England.
Yeah,
That's,
exactly.
I think that's how it works.
That is how it works. I mean, Pezza mentioned the University of Life that we were sort of doing without realising. I would recommend to people to actually go to university if you can.
Of course, yeah.
Rather than doing this, because this is a very specific set of skills that is not applicable to any stage of life, I would suggest. But yeah, I mean...
it is a PhD in toxic masculinity, though, isn't it?
Exactly. That's exactly it. And people want to hear it. I mean, it's so far. So we've benefited from the fact that a lot of the presentation of cricket at the highest levels is done by ex-professional cricketers who are saying things they don't really think. And we, on the other hand, get down there. We try and present a prism of the game that maybe club cricketers recognise. We run the international game through the club prism, and people so far like it.
I think that was the thing that I first noticed with the Twitter account, which was, you know, it just got to the point where we'd started sort of talking about global cricket, right? So before that, everyone's focused on England or India or New Zealand or whatever their team is. Then we get into global, and then you guys come in and we're like, actually, like, there's a huge percentage of people that love cricket who don't even watch the national stuff, right? They're maybe not even that directly interested in it. And until sort of the grade cricketer came on, now you've got cricket district as well. You've got all these different things. It's like, it makes sense. But when you guys did it, I was like, that's really, really clever. And then Sydney grade cricket is a bit nuts, right? Like, I think even within the Australian culture of being a bit nuts, it's more nuts than the others.
I believe you're referring to Sydney Test cricket, Jarrod.
That's what we call it.
Yeah, yeah, that's right. I mean, when we were playing on your Saturdays and your Sundays, even though you aspire to, you know, make it here, right, make it at Lords, you don't actually pay attention to the national side, and to actually be interested in cricket is to your great detriment. If you reveal that you like cricket, that's a little bit rare. Now, sure, you spent
went to 2 days of the Test match.
Yeah,
What's
now,
wrong with you?
Now, you have just spent 25 to 30 hours a week, basically a part-time job, doing this thing. But to like cricket is a little bit rare.
Or to show outwardly that you like cricket, even though every action you take suggests that you do love the game, is an enormous mistake.
$700 on a bat,
Yeah.
but you don't like the game.
Yeah, we've all spent 30 hours a week,
Yeah.
but if on Saturday afternoon after the game you speak with other club cricketers and talk about cricket, you are ostracised for eternity for like daring to say that you like the game.
Yeah.
It's a tough set of rules.
Yeah.
It's tough to navigate. It's a tightrope, but that's what we try and do with the grade cricketer. Just try and explain how you're meant to conduct yourself.
It's also, you know, the cricket side of it is funny, but also the emotional side, because it's hard to explain to people in England and other countries what club cricket in Australia is like. But it is, everyone thinks they are in a test match, even if it's fourth. You guys play grade cricket. Like, I started off playing really low-level cricket, and, like, you know, the plumber turns up 5 minutes beforehand, but he's yelling at everyone because they haven't done stretches, right? Like, who ran laps of the ground to prepare for the day?
Yeah.
What do you mean you won't bowl 15 overs into the wind, despite the fact you've been a landscape gardener all week? Like, it's not like in English cricket, everyone's making an excuse. He probably can't do that because, you know, he's hip. And in Australian cricket, it's like, we can't pick him anymore. He's got a dumb hip. He's done forever.
That is exactly right. I mean, also you're just mimicking what you see on television. I remember just being told to sledge when I was like 19, just because that's what Steve Waugh did.
Yeah.
So I don't know why I was doing it, but I was just doing it because that's what the national team did, despite also at the same time not being too interested in selections or what was happening with the national setup. So it's all very confusing. I suppose another element as well, that in grade cricket you play Saturday. Like, there are 2-day fixtures, right? So that is a weird one, where one team will bat on one Saturday, then you come back the following week, and then it's your turn, you know, more or less. And some weeks or some stretches you might not bat for like a month. And this goes on for like 7 months while all your friends are at the beach. It's it's
trying to
painful.
explain to a new girlfriend that you are, you know, if you're a specialist batter, you're going to go for about 60 or 70 overs and stand in the sun. Not do that much. Maybe field it mid-off. Right? When she wants to go away for a weekend. It's not the easiest conversation, is it?
No, it's not. And I think the English, they, as a nation, do know how to enjoy cricket at a holistic level. I mean, grounds are well appointed, people are included, partners can come along. There's lovely things to do. There are verdant greens and hills and beautiful afternoon teas. Whereas Australia is like, it's rock hard outfields and everybody pretending it's a test match, even though you're a fourth grader.
Even though the council hasn't even mapped out the pitch correctly.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. But we feel like it's our constitutional obligation to be very good at cricket. So the attitudes are completely contrasting to different places. But again, it just bubbles up a whole bunch of conduct that is kind of rooted in brutality, tragedy, pain that we've just tried to tap into through these various forms.
And there's some elements as well which make you feel so far away from the game. Now, that might be like being asked to score, or being asked to help move the sight screens, or a hungover groundsman rolling the pitch who does not care. Or one of our favourites is like a ratepayer who lives nearby will walk across the field
with their dog.
With their dog.
Because that's what they do every single day. They pay council taxes to do that. And we think we're playing a test match. Someone just cuts across like long leg, you know, and in unison, everybody in the cricket, like playing that cricket game, oh, got off the field, and this person's just got a paper under their arm and a dog just going, hang on, this is my local park, you know. So sometimes you have the bubble burst from a test match, like in the ways Higo said, scoring, moving side screens, getting rid of ratepayers, that bring you back to earth pretty hard.
Were you surprised at the fact that this translated outside of Australia? So I remember going back, so your first book came out in 2015, and I remember that people who I'd grown up with who don't watch international cricket had your book and were talking to me about it, and I realized why it meant to them, because they had grown up with the, yelling at the guy with the dog, right? Like they were all used to that. Are you surprised how well it's translated to other cricket cultures that are nothing like Australia's cricket culture? It is really, a culture of its own. Did that surprise you guys?
Yeah, I suppose so. Like all we've ever done is put our work out there and seen if it's going to fly or not. Like we don't retrofit any of our ideas to new audiences. We just cover the game, speak about the game in a way that's authentic to our experience. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I suppose we've learnt pleasantly that there are a lot of universal experiences of cricket that transcends like the cultural mores of nations, So whether you are English or Indian or Australian or South African or whatever it is, like people still experience pain in cricket. They experience strange byplay between teammates. Cricket is an inherently selfish game. It's a self-interested game that masquerades as a team game, and that creates political situations that we just mine for comedy. So it doesn't really matter where you're from. The game inherently throws up a lot of comedy, particularly long-form cricket. I think the thing that's not so much threatened TGC, but...
Are you saying T20 cricket's not funny enough?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not funny.
It's the least humorous game, and one of the biggest threats to our business is professional players figuring out in T20 cricket that it doesn't matter whether you get out or you hit a six, to just stay level with it. So you don't see, like, players don't seem to mind either way whether they succeed or fail. And we've got real problems with that when we do a SWOT analysis of the great cricketer, because it's all about how you deal with pain and how you mind that. So yeah, we've been really fortunate that, I suppose it just speaks to the layers of the game itself and the way that it's been made, that there's so much comedy in there because it elicits so many emotions, There was one time at a live show at the interval where we had Justin Langer downstairs. I don't think he'd mind me saying this. And he went downstairs at the interval and he started looking straight on his phone for BBL scores. And I said to him, like, JL, are you really into it? Because a lot of professional cricketers, off camera aren't into it. And he stared up at me with those intense dagger eyes and said, like, I love it, Sammy. Do you love it? Do you love cricket, Sammy? And I said, it's a complicated thing, JL. It really is. It's hard to say. He's like, no, do you love it? And I was like, yes, Justin. And then I was just Homer into the hedges out of there. Like love is, I think, too superficial a way to talk about cricket. I mean, cricket is just the ups and downs of life, and we just try and cover that.
One thing I noticed, like the difference in club cricket here, I was lucky enough to play 3 years down in Surrey 15 years ago now, which is painful for me to say, but... And
you average 45 there as well. You mentioned that on the show a few times.
I will link up the stats later, yeah. But
if anyone can just Google play cricket while we're live.
Higgins.
People really enjoyed playing here. Like, as in, like, they're like their Saturday was about community and getting to the club. You're having shandies in the clubhouse. The community would come down. You know, people from the community having tea, watching the cricket at the local park, right? Whereas in Australia, no one was enjoying it. Like you were there to win. Like that was the thing. And I think a lot of people were playing.
And hope that your teammates fail too. By the way,
well, there's that.
That's one way you go up. It's a zero-sum game.
You're also checking the grade beneath you to see if that young talented guy has actually succeeded. In which case your spot's on the third grade. But yeah, like, you know, I've never been through the harshness of the winters here, right? So I'm not sure what that transition is like, but you sort of understand it about the 3 p.m. sunsets here, you know, during the winter and the pain of that. Then the sun's out like it is in the last few days here at Lords, and it's just magnificent. Nowhere else in the world you'd want to be than in the Northern Hemisphere when the sun's shining. And cricket, like, it just makes part of it's culture, it's family, it's community and all that. In grade cricket, you're just doing it because that's what you do in the summer, and also you're there to win, and if you're there to have a good time, all the best. Yeah. Change clubs.
Yeah.
I remember when I grew up, and I didn't realise that everyone didn't go to cricket all day on Saturday. Do you know what I mean? Like, I've told this story before. Like, there's a great story with Charles Darwin where, like, one of Charles Darwin's kids goes next doors, and he's saying to the kid, "Where does your dad keep his barnacles?" Like, I was that kind of kid where I was just like, "What do you mean you went away on the weekend? How could you go away on the weekend?" Do you remember, like, in Melbourne, it was this big thing of, like, you could only get married on, like, 2 weekends of the year because it had to be between cricket and footy season.
Right.
Because you couldn't miss a game to get married.
Yeah.
And imagine taking half the club away to get married. It's disgusting. Yeah. So it's not the way that these things go. So it's very, very different. So I think all that's fascinating. Just on the grade cricketer side of things, you tried the book and that works. Sensational. What's the idea with the podcast of, like, well, we've done Twitter, we've done a book, we need to find the next level?
Pretty much. Like that. I mean, when these things started to emerge for us, we all had full-time jobs elsewhere. Like, we didn't sit down with a business plan or a strategy or a 5-year horizon or anything like that. We just enjoyed exploring the character and talking about it. And when the podcast came up, it really was nothing more complicated than, like, we'd like to keep doing this. And with a little bit of help from people who'd enjoyed the book, we were given a platform. We were lucky insofar as we had an existing social media following, so we weren't starting a podcast from scratch and no one had heard us or anything like that. And us, like, I think the thing that's probably less interesting to talk about is that there used to be 3 of us, now there's 2, but, like, we always enjoyed communication separately. We'd all had time on local radio, we've all written before, we've studied things in and around that as well, so I think we did bring a bit of skill to it as well. Like for example, once we released our anonymity, there was a lot of first graders and higher level cricketers who would come up to us and tell us what our jokes should be, because they were better at cricket than us. Therefore, they were better writers than us. But I
think that's how it works.
And better people.
I think when you're a better cricketer than someone, you're a better person than them, and you know more about life. So so the podcast was just another step where we're like, we just enjoy doing this, and but we worked hard. I mean, at the time, Higgos and it was Dave at the time were living in Sydney. I was living in Melbourne. I would fly to Sydney every week on, a cheap Jetstar flight. We'd do it all in purpose.
At the Geelong airport?
Avalon, go down to Avalon, get it done. Yeah, so we've done a lot of hard yards. We've done a lot of very, like, bare bones editing of stuff. We've had, like, garage years. We've recorded podcasts with doonas over our heads in cars, early in the morning, getting away from, like, babies crying. So we've really, like, put a lot of work in to get to where we are now, and I'm sure we'll ruin it soon and get cancelled by saying the wrong thing, but it's been a great ride.
I remember actually being on your podcast once, and I don't think I've ever told you guys this. You asked me on, and I had been doing lots of swimming around Australia, and I had infections in my ears, and I couldn't hear a word that you guys said, so I did a whole episode of your podcast. It was like 40 minutes from a hotel room in Sydney somewhere, where I had no idea what you guys were saying. So you must be like, why is he being so random? Like, why is he trying? Comedy's our thing. We're better at cricket than he is. From there, what I find really interesting from a cricket media perspective is, there's something about the Australian cricket media where they're just like, okay, well, the great cricket, we're going to bring them in. And you do end up getting involved with Channel 7, and you are a fairly, major part. You've got a partnership with, Gideon Haig and Peter Lawler now, and all these different things. The Channel 7 thing really changes it from people in the know to kind of, like my dad knows who you are right now, and he can't Google anything. You know, he hates everything from Sydney, if we're being honest. So
he wouldn't be the only person from around Australia. That's a default position, isn't it?
So Channel 7 really takes you from podcasters and Twitter to something else, right? And that's a lot of that is the player interviews, yeah, because the players actually, for whatever reason, and I don't understand it, seem to want to talk to you.
Thanks, Jarrod. Yeah, Jarrod's actually doing this interview with a gun to his back from his producers.
I asked not to do it. But
yeah, I'm so sorry, Jarrod.
Well, Jarrod, I've been swimming around the country, so I can't hear a single thing you're saying. No, we've been really lucky because like this current generation of Australian players, which have been playing for like 15 years for Australia, basically, they all went through grade cricket. And that is the avenue to get to state cricket into Test cricket, right, or the white ball setup. So it's probably less and less these days. They're playing less and less grade cricket to get into academies, into the system, so to speak. But there was a kinship there because we're broadly the same age as Usman. So you know, like it's yeah, there was a sort of a recognition there, I think, of shared experience, even though these guys were genetic freaks and, you know, we just gave it a go and paid to play ultimately. So, you know, I think there was a kinship there to begin with. So there was, you know, but then just to make players laugh is gold for producers. Now, if you can do that, then that's very giving of the players as well, right? Because that takes trust in them that you're not going to make them look bad. And we've never tried to do that at all. Like,
well, they're in on the joke, right?
They're
not the joke.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think Higgos has said it correctly, but I can't really speak for players, but I'm presuming they enjoy engaging in interviews with people who might have shared a similar cricketing experience to them through grade cricket, and I think a lot of them are keen to impress on audiences that they have been in those you know, those foundational rootsy situations as well, and they've come through with similar humour and that kind of you know, abrasive experience that you have through grade cricket as well. So I think we're able to get on a good level with a lot of them, have a laugh with them, and I think ultimately they know that we're not really going to ask them a whole heap of gotcha questions. Only occasionally, you know, so that it is nice to do that.
It is. It's not that you guys don't do journalism, because quite often you will break news, right? But it's actually that you're not asking questions like cricket writers, right?
Yeah.
So you're not saying, how do you feel about that last failure, or, you know, it's a tough tour coming out. Like it's coming at it from another area, so it's allowing them to have conversations, which professional athletes don't always get a chance to have conversations. It's why so many of the American guys have their own podcasts, right? So they can just talk about what they want to talk about, and you guys sort of allow them to do that, and it is a, you know, they know there's going to be gags on there and everything else. Like, it's a looser thing. It's a much different thing than normal cricket media.
Yeah, like, and from our perspective, like, I think that whether you're a cricket writer, you're a TV presenter, you're your social media first storyteller, I think we're all here just to narrate the game for people. I mean, people, like cricket, sport is two things. It's what happens on the field and all the talk that happens afterwards. We're just part of all that talk, and if people want to have us as their chief narrators of cricket, they like a bit of comedy with it, they can have us. If they like something a little bit more considered or statistically driven, there's a lot of people there for that as well. And I mean, what we enjoy doing is speaking to players through you know, a grade cricket perspective, and yeah, sometimes that will throw up a story that perhaps other reporters haven't been able to get. So I mean, he goes a couple of years ago when we were speaking to the players, the Aussie players after the 2023 Ashes, we just gleaned that something had happened in the long room during lunch after the Bairstow incident. Someone had.
Is this an exclusive?
No. This is Higo's kind of got it, but there was mention of it, and I won't say who the player was who kind of dropped it, but Higo's just followed up on something that was mentioned about it, and all of a sudden, someone spilt the beans about the whole scenario of Johnny Bairstow coming in steaming after the dismissal. They were playing the replay over and over and over, and Bairstow looking at the Aussie players and saying, "Are you guys happy with that?" To which David Warner responded, "Yes, very." And so once that one player dropped that story, every new player came into that content capture day, we had the story and just asked them about it outright. So they knew, well, if this is out there, we'll just keep telling the story. So every single player put their perspective on it. Travis Head and Mitch Marsh were talking about how they'd spilt soup on themselves. They were laughing so much. I think the only people that upset was the Amazon documentary people who weren't releasing for a year, and they wanted that one for their doco. But yeah, so occasionally it can that story went humongously around the world, and Piers Morgan started sledging us on Twitter.
Piers Morgan picked it up. So then, like, everyone's playing their part. You know, we're just laughing along. You know, the Australians are ugly, nasty, brutish, thuggish convicts.
Yes, anti-intellectual as well.
And Piers Morgan's chipping in. So it's just the Ashes, baby. You know what I'm saying?
He really doesn't like that stumping of Johnny Bairstow, by the way.
Well, he wouldn't be the only one, to be fair to him, but
he is the loudest. Although I suppose he's the loudest on many things, so that's fair. One of the things I thought was really interesting now is I think I told you guys yesterday when we were chatting that I remember like the first time I got like a settle down champ in the comments. Now, champing is obviously, we all grew up champing, and we, as Australians, we know about it, but I don't think it was ever really discussed. I feel like you guys sort of brought the discussion about champing. Can you explain to the worldwide audience of talkSPORT here exactly the subtle art of champing?
We do have a glossary at the end of our first book that goes through some of these words. So how would you define, like, to be champed is when somebody's speaking to you. For example, if you order a coffee from somebody and the barista says at the end, "Here you go, champ." You just feel like they've subtly patronised you or been condescending towards you. You know, like your name is on the cup. They could call you by your name, but instead they call you champ, and it's condescending because clearly you're not a champion of any in any way, shape, or form.
You're just someone who bought a coffee.
That's exactly right. I just bought a coffee. So it's a word that we observed was turning up in a lot of those contexts within cricket or life. And we just kind of just kept writing about it. We popularised it a little bit, and it turns up all over the culture now. Like it was in Mr. In Between, which is a great Aussie TV series as well, where like somebody in jail says to another criminal, "Here you go, champ." He goes, "What did you call me?" And then there's a massive fight in the jail. So like we're just it's not like we invented it. It was more just noticing it, bringing it out into the world, talking about it, and people can enjoy it that way.
There's so many words in cricket that are ruined, like they're ruined words, you know what I mean? And like champ is definitely one of them, because to be champed, it absolutely rocks you, and it just shouldn't. But like when it's like, I don't want to it is the boomer generation, unfortunately. You know, like it is when someone rocks you with an unironic champion. It's like, oh god, you've absolutely done me there. Now they don't know what they're doing; they're just being nice and genial, but they're not. Yeah, championship, Champs-Élysées,
Champions League,
champignon,
beef champignon.
Yeah.
So this is the linguistics of grade cricket.
The other big one that I remember, which again was something that I grew up with and understood, but I'd never really thought about bringing out, is rig.
Yeah, the rig.
The rig, yeah. Rig. So the rig is the specifically male torso, and having a good rig, having a tight rig, a rig that you can wear a training singlet to training to show off the pipes, that being the biceps and the triceps. These are all ridiculous things which aren't important, but they are important because, you know, now back in the day, there's not really a pinch hitter role anymore, but sort of 15, 20 years ago, the idea of being suggested that you might be able to pinch hit is just a recognition of the hard work you've been doing at the gym, not of any sort of ability with bat and ball.
The other one that I had, and I think it's in your first book as well, is like talking about the circuit.
Yeah, circuit's the word that's used for, like, you know, going out to various pubs after play, pubs and bars or whatever. And I guess the circuit is an analogy for the Formula One circuit. Going from race to race to race. So the circuit's really important in grade cricket. It's a very important part of the ecosystem, the environment. You play the game, you circuit afterwards. What's the circuit tonight?
I remember as a young kid thinking that it was a nightclub or a bar called the circuit.
Yeah,
I didn't realise there were multiple options.
Yeah, I guess you have the ATP circuit as well.
Yeah,
I mean, it's just poetic analysis and analogies within cricket. So, for example, I don't know how appropriate this is for talkSPORT, but you have the Triple C, which is like it's the ultimate attainment within cricket, which is century, circuit, and then what we would call chop. Now, I'm not going to go into what that is, but
it's in the book.
It's in the book. You can read it. Dump this if you need to, but yeah, the unattainable Triple C is really what everybody's trying to play for in grade cricket,
and that's why the long form it needs to be held together,
protected.
It needs to be protected.
Yeah.
That's right, because guys are just bored.
Yeah.
We're just bored.
Well, they invited us to World Cricket Connects at Lords a few weeks ago to lobby for the protection of long-form cricket so that we can keep the Triple C and things like this.
Yes.
Because this is what gives the game richness and culture, you know, to the
It's a
everyman
real shame
out there.
Jay Shah wasn't there to hear
Yeah, well,
about.
that'd be the first thing I'd be
Yes.
saying to him. You understand we must keep long-form cricket for these
You
reasons.
need to make cricket great again.
Yeah.
I think he'd understand the circuit. I think he would get.
Yeah. I reckon he'd be good on the circuit, Jay.
He would definitely champ you, though.
Yeah.
There's no
Yeah.
doubt he would champ both of you. Your careers have changed. I mean, your careers have been going in a direction for a long time, but they've changed a lot recently. Obviously, you've got this Apollo gig, which is what? Over 3,000 people are expected to be at your gig. You know, 1,500 of them happily taken there and 1,500 by a friend who's this like...
Thanks, Jeff. See, and that's what you call alphaing.
Yeah, that's good. That's a master at
That's
work.
very good.
Yeah.
And
You played at the Apollo a bit, yeah.
champ.
Yeah.
You could have champed. Okay.
Yeah.
But no, but I think because you can get to that new audience, there will be a lot of people that'll be brought there for the first time. But the other thing is India, right?
Yeah.
We both of us have YouTube pages that are quite big on the back of one India series going wild in Australia, and suddenly the algorithm's going nuts. But that takes you to India, and you do shows in India. And on top of that, you were in India for the IPL. You ran afoul of the BCCI briefly, and you were there for a war. This is not exactly. I can't remember what your job was. You go, well, weren't you? Knocking around in PR or something back in Melbourne?
Yeah.
It's a bit different, isn't it? Suddenly dealing with BCCI lawyers and trying to get out of a country that might be going to war.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're really proud of the work we've done into India. So, yeah, I mean, the same as you. When India defeated Australia at the Gabba and, they broke the fortress, it was so rich with symbolism, and there really was a feeling that we were calling at the time, that the Asian century has arrived. It was a moment where Australians were going, okay, finally, the avalanche of Indian people, the way that they've organised themselves, they've corralled all their talent from around the country means that nobody will ever beat them again in cricket. They are simply too good now that they've beaten us, the exceptional Australians at the Gabba. And
we are the final gate holders.
That's right. We were the final boss of cricket, and now they'd been broken.
To be fair, they did walk around with a massive Indian flag and did a lap of the Gabba. So
I think that flag's at Lords now. I think they planted it. But
I think Graham Souness is out there.
Yeah. But so we were like, let's have a real crack at telling stories about cricket in India. We didn't know if it was going to work or not, but it turned out like there was a material enough amount of people who were interested in the way we were telling stories about cricket into India. So we've covered the IPL for 5 years in a row. We've toured there 2 or 3 times to 7 or 8 different cities. We have a substantial audience there, and it's given us this amazingly rich opportunity to learn about another country. You can't really tell jokes in any insightful way without understanding history, without understanding context. So we didn't realise when we were playing on syringe-filled rock-hard outfields at Ryde Oval in threes, that would kind of be a foundation for us learning about the history of a country as rich as India.
Yeah, no, it's been an incredible trip so far. Obviously, the Apollo on Sunday night during the Wimbledon final. I'm sure everyone will turn up.
Yeah. Again, what's been your experience with that at the Apollo?
This guy is good.
Yeah.
But I was about to say, but you've got another book coming out soon. It keeps going.
Yeah.
The great cricketer cannot be stopped.
Yeah, thanks, Jason. We're really excited. We just keep on churning things out and hoping people turn up when the tennis isn't on.
Yeah, and you should do a book too. You'd be really good at that.
One day. One day. Thank you very much, Great Cricketer Boys. You can find them on all the social medias. You can find them at the Apollo, and they quite often in the UK as well. Like me, we've basically taken over the Australians over here.
Yeah, but now the Indian team is about to walk out, I think we're behind them.
You say that. I see us very much as the Jay Shah of online cricket media.
We need to work on our Insta reels.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Slow motion.
Yeah, slow motion stuff. Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks, JK.
Thanks,
Cheers,
Jarrod.
mate.
The cricketer will be back on in a moment. I think Manners is going to take over on commentary. India are 248 for 4, and we'll see you in a couple of minutes.